What it do, YouTube? Ricky Unboxed here, back with yet another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, guys. And in this video I'm just going to be highlighting what I found to be the most useful, what I love about this device, how I'm liking it in the last 2 weeks. Yeah guys, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing that I realized with using this Nintendo Switch has to be the JoyCons. I think by far that has to be the most highlighted feature for this new Nintendo Switch this year, guys. And honestly, just first off the bat, I just love how easy it is for you to take off the JoyCons and just put them back on. That magnetic addition, it's a game changer. I've said this already in my unboxing video. If you guys haven't checked that out, go check that out. But by far my favorite feature so far with these JoyCons has to be that how easy it is just to release it. Now, one of the new things that they did include in the new JoyCons as well is you can use it as a mouse. So as long as you put it down on a flat surface, it'll automatically detect that you're using it in the mouse position, and a cursor will pop up on the screen and you can use it as a mouse. Now you do have this addition that makes it just a little bit more easy while you're moving it on a flat surface. Just because you can see here that it's not specifically flat, but as soon as you put this on, so there's like a little pin here at the bottom. For me, how I normally do it is I put this part at the bottom first, put it there, and then just slide it in like that and you're good to go. So now you can see that the bottom surface is a little bit more flat, making it that much easier when you're using it in that mouse orientation. And then this becomes just like a clicker, so you can select whatever you want to select by just scrolling and then hitting this as like your mouse clicker. Really cool innovation. I don't really know what you're going to be using this for. I haven't used it much in the last 2 weeks that I've been using this device, but I can say though that the JoyCons do feel a lot better when you're using it for gaming, just because the size is bigger, guys. You're going to see that just regular gaming feels a lot more smooth and fluent just because you have that more surface area to game with. So yeah, and in terms of releasing the mouse adapter, it's the exact same way. You just push this little button here, and I guess it just pushes the magnetism off of the device, and then it, voila, comes apart. These are super useful, especially when you're playing games like Nintendo Sports, where you're literally throwing your hand at your TV and playing badminton or bowling, whatever it is that you're playing. You definitely want to use this because you don't want your Joy-Con to end up in your TV, or smashing it on the floor. Anyways, you get the gist. So definitely use these if you're going to be playing any games that require you to swing your Joy-Con. One thing I will say is definitely double check your settings. So here's a quick little backstory. All right, so I was playing Mario Kart, right? And I was like, there's no way my Joy-Cons already have stick drift. This was like day 1 or 2 of gaming on the Joy-Cons, and I literally had to go into the settings, and one of the features there is tilt. So you can like tilt the Joy-Con in order for you to turn. So subconsciously, while I was driving, I was turning my hands thinking that this thing has stick drift already. The reason why I'm saying this is if you are like me and you don't really use the tilt feature, you might want to go into your settings and disable that one, just because you might be turning your head subconsciously like I was and think that you have stick drift. So yeah, there you go. But other than that though, guys, the Joy-Cons feel absolutely amazing. Now just going on to like the screen and just gaming on this device, it does feel refreshing to have that bigger screen. Now I know it's not an OLED panel, guys, but the LCD screen does do a good job. Whether you're outdoors or you're indoors and you're gaming on this device, honestly, you're not really gonna notice any issues with lighting. Like you're gonna be able to see the brightness gets pretty bright on this device. Can't remember the exact nits though, guys, but you are able to visibly see everything, whether you're indoors or outdoors. It does suck that we don't get an OLED panel, but you know what? I'm sure they're gonna release one in the next couple of years. If you guys can't wait, can wait for the OLED panel. If not, the brightness on the screen is pretty decent. Obviously, when they drop the OLED panel, you're gonna get a brighter display, but you're still able to see on this device. Now, the 4K resolution does come in handy, especially when you have a 4K TV paired with this device. You do get that 120 Hz refresh as long as your game is allowing of that refresh rate, but it is very smooth. I like gaming on the 4K display. It's very crisp, very smooth. The games run fluently. I've showed you guys before that you can run previous generation games. Now, the resolution is not as clean as a Nintendo Switch made game for the new Nintendo Switch 2, but if you're running games from the previous Nintendo Switch model, you're still going to be getting pretty buttery fresh games as well as a decent resolution screen. I've been playing Nintendo Sports, and you know, it's a last generation game, but it still runs very fluently, very smooth. I have no issues with it, guys. Now, just in terms of, you know, gaming on this device, having this 150-degree stand does come in handy. Being able to put it down on flat surfaces or orient it where you're sitting and you can game with the device looking right at you. It does come in handy, guys, having that kickstand there. I really like this as well. I have been doing a lot more gaming from my TV though, but if I am gaming outside or, you know, maybe at work, I do have a couple flights coming up. I might be gaming on the plane. So you can use the kickstand on, you know, pretty much any flat surface that you have around you. So that's great too. And then you can always just use your Joy-Cons and bada bing, bada boom, right? Now, one thing I did notice is that the battery life, guys. Battery life is not as good as last year's or previous generation model. I don't know if I keep saying last year's model, but previous generation model. This model, I believe you're getting about 6.5 hours. Even though it's a bigger device, bigger battery, better chips, it's still drawing a lot more power just because of, I guess, you know, the size of the device. It's gonna be taking up more of that battery. There is a lot going on in this device, even though you do have, you know, higher refresh, more resolution, everything is a little bit more upgraded on this device. You have a bigger battery, but like I said, because of all these components, these moving components going on, you are getting a little bit less battery life with this device. So if you're somebody who games a lot handheld, you might find that to be an issue. But if you're like me and, you know, you game here and there on the device and then you game a lot more on your TV, you're not gonna have any issues, guys. And on top of that, you do get the USB-C port on the top and on the bottom as well, so you can game while charging it without any interruptions, or if it's on like a stand or anything, you can game. Having that extra USB-C port is useful. Now, my honest impressions gaming on this device, would I pick this up if I never had a Nintendo Switch or if I had previous generation model? This is a tough one. So realistically, if you're looking for something with a bigger display, you're looking for better Joy-Cons overall, I believe there's better battery life as well with these, but just having the flexibility to, you know, turn this into a mouse, or having a bigger Joy-Con, better functions, better, you know, not as much stick drift, pretty much no stick drift. I've been gaming for the last 2 weeks, 0 stick drift. Slightly decreased battery life, if that's not an issue for you, you know, you might want to upgrade. I think there might be some viable stuff here for you to, you know, consider an upgrade if you had the previous generation model. You still are able to game on from last year's games. You know, you still get it. You're getting an increase in resolution. You're getting that 4K display, 120 Hertz. I'm telling you, this thing is buttery smooth, guys. If those things entice you, or if those things sound like something that, you know, you would lean towards for an upgrade, then go ahead, by all means, definitely upgrade. But if, you know, none of those things stand out to you, and you know, most of the times don't even game with the Joy-Cons, you use like a controller that you've bought already, or you're gaming a lot on your TV and you're not worried about the resolution anyways, or the brightness because you're using your TV's brightness, then maybe just stick with last year's model. It depends on how you game would, you know, better suit whether or not you should pick this up or you should pass. But for me personally, I definitely would. I would pick this one up. I would upgrade only because, primarily because the Joy-Cons. I'm telling you guys, this year's Joy-Cons versus last year's Joy-Cons, they're not in a league. They're in their own league. Like, just how I can't get over that. Just how easy it is for you to attach and detach these things. Very smooth, very fluent. That alone for me would be the reason why I would upgrade to this Switch. But along with the fact that you get a bigger screen, you know, you get that 4K resolution, you get the 120 hertz refresh depending on what games you're playing. Now I know this device is coming in pretty hefty at a pretty hefty price tag. I think here in Canada this device is $699 for the bundle edition, and I cannot remember what it is for just the console alone. I think it's maybe $550, but I could be wrong, guys. I'm not 100% sure. I'll leave it down below what the actual price is. But honestly, that's my quick little review on this Nintendo Switch so far. I do think that there's some moving parts here that you might want to upgrade, but let me know down in the comments what you guys are thinking. If you guys pick this up, if you guys already have it, playing it, if you're still on the fence, let me know, guys. What are you feeling? Are you guys thinking that, did you make the right purchase, or are you feeling you should wait for the OLED model releasing in maybe 2 years or 3? Who knows? But that's been it though, guys. Let me know what you guys think. It's been real. Keep it real. Take care. Love, peace, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.